A lot of wind.
You're on.
Like it. He's saying.
That's on.
There we go.
I was falling asleep. We're gonna do this with this part. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice. Have any announcements?
I've got something. If it pleases the council, I move to add an item to the agenda pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42466B under announcements for the approval of a citation recognizing the Canane brothers for their new movie to be released in theaters tomorrow.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to read the citation. Of the town of Little Compton, citation of accommodation. And whereas the town council of the town of Little Compton takes great pride in recognizing the achievements of residents and community members whose talents, dedication, and hard work bring distinction and honor to our town. And whereas the Canane brothers, Charles Canane III, Daniel Canane, Patrick Canane, Brenda Canane, Peter Canane, John Canane, William Canane, and Jeffrey Aziz have demonstrated exceptional film artistry, creativity, and commitment through their collaborative work and production of the film Solmio. And whereas through the passion, professionalism, and perseverance, these residents have enriched the cultural life of Little Compton and served as inspiring ambassadors for the town, both locally and beyond. And whereas their achievement reflect the strong spirit, creativity, and community values that define Little Compton and showcase the town's tradition of excellence in the arts. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town council of the town of Little Compton does hereby extend its sincere congratulations and appreciation to Charles Canane III, Daniel Canane, Patrick Canane, Brenda Canane, Peter Canane, John Canane, William Canane, and Jeffrey Aziz for their outstanding accomplishments. Be it further resolved, the town of Little Compton hereby proclaims Friday, February 6, 2026 as Solmio Day in the town of Little Compton and encourages all residents to join in celebrating this remarkable achievement. Do I have a vote to approve the citation? I'll make a motion to approve the citation. By a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Department head reports.
You skip minutes.
I skipped minutes, approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
All in favor?
Get a
Oh, second, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's passed. Department head reports. Does anyone want to take a department head report out?
I'd like to just ask Anya, not so much in her report, but attached to her report was the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns Municipal Salary Survey for 2025. And rather than assume everybody's going to read all of this, maybe you could just give us a quick high level summary.
Sure, happy to. So I included this because I hadn't realized it existed before, and I was preparing to do some sort of a salary review of how are we paying folks in town government. And then lo and behold, I got an email from the League of Cities and Towns asking us to fill out this year's salary survey. And so I asked for last year's, and I thought it was interesting, so I thought I should share it with you. This is the survey results for fiscal year 25. And you can see some of the highlights. If you go to the back of it, to the appendix, they actually rank towns and cities across Rhode Island by position in terms of how they compensate for various positions. First of all, you'll notice that a lot of positions don't exist in Little Compton. That some of Little Compton's positions are part-time, whereas other cities and towns are full-time. And that's noted in there. But where we do have comparable positions to other cities and towns, you'll notice that we are mostly either at or near the bottom. So just a interesting sort of baseline information as we look at how we compensate people and what we include in our budgets going forward.
Thank you. You're welcome. I have one more. On the department head reports, I wanted to ask Jonathan to report out. This is his first report to us as Chief Information Officer for his department. So Jonathan, if you could give us a quick summary, please. Thank you.
So these last few months, I've mostly spent getting acclimated, understanding the environments, because the better I understand each individual department's processes and workflows, the better we can design our systems moving forward around them, and the better we can support everybody, their jobs. So the safety complex is a quick update. They were already ahead of the curve. By and large, we've been taking care of them along with the school for the past 7 years. So they've been maintaining a lot of best practices. And the recent JAG grant that we spoke about last time I gave an update, new server networking, workstation hardware for everybody at the safety complex at no cost to the town. So that was an excellent upgrade that we're working on wrapping up the rest of right now. Of the work over the past few months has been at town hall itself. There were some unaddressed issues, wiring connections, network loops, misconfigurations or outdated things that needed to be addressed. And a large part of that was spent migrating all of the town's users into the existing public safety government cloud. And it's actually a special data center from our provider, Microsoft, that is wholly separate from any non-government entities to make sure we're compliant in all areas of data security, but keep a physical separation of everything critical that we own. So 3 decades of data, a couple million emails and several 100,000 documents have been moved over with very little notice or downtime cut over, anything like that. And then we switched over to the little compton.gov domain. So the town, all of its employees is complete, and we're working on wrapping up boards and committees, other users on that space over the next coming weeks. We've also standardized device management, cybersecurity policies, and just best practices around software and tools like antivirus, email filtering, conditional and geolocation aware access to prevent bad actors from not in our area from accessing our services, data sensitivity classifications, and multi-factor authentication that protects all of it. And while doing all of those things, everything we do is now encrypted end to end and at rest. Our data, our backups are fully secured. All of this is really groundwork at the end of the day for some of the next steps, which is a little more detail in the report itself. But some of the highlights that we're in the process of wrapping up, we're working on a building sensor network townwide. It's actually funded by the trust. They have some money available to fund the installation and the first bit of service. It includes temperature, humidity, and water leakage sensors in all town property. And the idea is that we can catch issues before they become damage and result in claim or anything like that. We're working on upgrading all of the infrastructure at town hall. And we'll be moving soon to new workstations for all of the employees, which should be a significant productivity upgrade. Special thanks to the safety complex who, through that JAG grant and getting all the hardware, have passed down a lot of their still very new and serviceable technology to us to allow us to make some big upgrades. We are also working on a new audio video system for this chambers here. That's been a big request of a lot of the town for a long time. So that includes one-touch live streaming to make it super easy for any board or committee to participate in that process, along with more closer screens for the audience so they can follow along when we're presenting something, and all new noise canceling microphone system that will allow us to amplify voice to a much better degree without risking feedback or clarity loss. we've had a big focus on cost savings from pooling existing services and contracts. So besides the $40,000 in hardware we've gotten to date with no money out of pocket, we have another $17,000 in grants for safety and security upgrades that are in progress, but we're waiting on hearing back about in the next couple of days. And we'll be applying for a $35,000 cybersecurity grant next week, which we have a very high likelihood of receiving that as well. And all this is part of moving all of our systems and processes more online, make them more accessible to everybody, which segues into my last item I'll discuss a little bit. Councillor Talbot's favorite, I think, the town newsletter. So there's been long requested some kind of a newsletter or listserv through which we as the town can push out information to residents. So coming very soon, we're currently evaluating multiple products to figure out what the best tool for the job is. So next week, we're going to put a form up on the website that you'll be able to, if you're interested in it, you can drop your email address in there. And as soon as that goes live, you'll be among the first people to participate in that and get those updates. Things like meeting announcements, information about what's happening in town. I think there's been a few questions about the short-term rental registration process. So once we have updates about that, that's a mechanism that the town can use to get that information out into everybody's hands quickly. And we will also be setting up some sort of a kiosk of sorts. So if you're coming into town in person, picking up your dump sticker or something like that in the town clerk's office, there'll be a little kiosk off to the side. You can just type in your info and we'll make sure to add you to the list.
Thank you.
So you beat up cybersecurity, is that what you said?
Very much.
And you're gonna have better audio in the council chambers.
That's a big priority.
And this listserv is gonna be for all news and anything anyone needs to know in Little Compton. So no one will ever have to say, I didn't know what was going on.
One of the biggest pieces we're looking for and evaluating is a tool that will allow multiple different departments to be able to craft their own input, so that everybody can participate in the process of determining what needs to go into the next newsletter. And then it will all come together in one nice digest of sorts that we can send out on a regular basis to make sure we're not hammering people with too many emails either.
And this will be opt-in or opt-out if you decide you don't want to get it, but essentially probably a weekly email that comes out or bi-weekly or depending on how the information flows.
Yeah, I think it definitely will depend. There are busy times of the year and slow ones, so maybe the frequency will even change. We'll have to determine some of the specifics. But I think, yeah, it's a regular newspaper. Anybody will be able to sign up for, with the idea, I think we'll start small and grow into it, that maybe you'll even be able to select what topics, boards that you're interested in following, and you can even get some sort of a customized version of that newsletter. But
I'll get them geeked out on it.
all right,
Thanks, comment. Thank you, Jonathan.
no problem.
Do I have a motion to accept the department head reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. This one, I'm going to make a motion to continue this appointment to the next town council meeting so that the advertising requirement in section 10-1.8A1 of the town code is satisfied. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Full business two, vote to appoint 3 Little Compton Planning Board members to fill terms ending February 1st, 2026. Do I have a motion for one?
I'll move to appoint Sal Marinowski to the planning board.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. That's 4-0. Do I have a second motion?
I'll move to appoint David Sloan to the planning board.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any. Do I have a motion for a third?
I'll go for a third and move to appoint Carl Friedman to the planning board.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any. Thank you for everyone who went for those positions. 3, vote to appoint Little Compton Recreation Committee member to fill term ending February 1st, 2026.
I'll make a motion to appoint Andrew Marion.
Do I have a second? I will second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that's unanimous. 4, recommendation of Recreation Committee to purchase equipment for repairs and maintenance for the playground, not to exceed $19,678.68. I will go to my town administrator.
So the Recreation Committee has had a full assessment of the playground. It needs a lot of repair and maintenance to maintain safety. They were actually so concerned about it that they recommend that if we can't get the repairs done by springtime, we should close it down temporarily until we can get them done. They have been, I met with a couple of members of the committee, including John LaRue, who's happens to be an expert on this subject, and we're very lucky to have him. He has given me a list of parts that need to be purchased and a list of contractors who could do the work. And so I am poised with your approval to buy those parts and to ask for bids from contractors. We will draw the funds for this from first from the budget of the rec committee, where there is some funding for this particular purpose. And then the overage will come from a fund established for this purpose at the Rhode Island Foundation by the committee that established the playground. And Marjorie O'Toole is in charge of that fund, and I've been in touch with her a couple of times to make sure that she supports this.
I'm going to make a motion to direct the town administrator as needed to obtain funding for the fund established for this purpose. Rhode Island Foundation, to the extent that these expenditures exceed the funds in the Recreation Committee budget for this purpose. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm seeing aye. Thank you. I'll also make a second motion to direct the town administrator to hire a contractor to install the parts and perform necessary repairs to go to bid. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? I will say discussion here if you want to clarify why this doesn't have to go to bid.
Because of the source of funding, we would be using the foundation fund for this. And so we're not required to do a bid, although I will ask for estimates from at least 3 contractors.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. Thank you. OB5, request from Harbor Commission to seek state assent, CRMC permit for harbor parking lot expansion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the council president to sign the application as presented by the Harbor Commission.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. Thank you. Update on 32, and that should say 34 comments. That's a typo. Fire safety compliance. Just have a statement. 32 and 34, Oddfellows in the community center. And a reminder, the town's continued responsibility and maintenance of 32 and 34. The commons, the community center and Oddfellows. The town has a completed tier 1 design specification, design drawings and hydraulic calculation. The town is still waiting on a as-built underground utility plan and a new site plan showing the location of the tank and utility connections to the 2 buildings. 32 and 34 comments. Unfortunately, the snow is delaying this piece, so we have to wait till it ever melts. The town has also completed drawings and specifications from architect Melissa Hutchinson on front and rear stairs, including handrails. As noted in previous meetings, a radio box has been installed and completed. The elevator that is in Oddfellows meets all state requirements for compliance. We're waiting for the last piece, waiting for Sean Egan, Rhode Island State Elevator Inspector, for his final say. And I left a message with him today. I hear he gets to the office early at 7 in the morning and picks his phone up. He's a hard man to get in touch with. So I will get in touch with him tomorrow, hopefully. I want to thank Ray Gomes, the fire consultant that the town has hired. Captain Randy Ward, our local fire expert, Victoria Talbot has done a lot of legwork on this. And we're close to getting an RFP out for these two buildings so we can get that second floor open and get things moving over there. So that's the update I have for that. New business one. The United Congregation.
Can I just go back to one thing quickly? Sure. Are we allowed to go back to old business?
Sure.
Just on number 2 and 3, the appointments that we made. Draft a letter to the members of the 2 committees that will not be returning. Just thanking them for
I would
the service.
happy to write those letters for the.
Right, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. New business one. The United Congressional Church letter.
Congregational.
Yeah, what is that? You don't know how to say that. Problem. What is it?
Congregational.
The United Congregational Church letter of request for the annual summer fair and road race on July 31st, which would be really nice if it was July, does that say 31st?
The 13th.
It says
It says 131st. I think it's the 13th. It's the second Saturday usually in.
Wow, I had, read that.
I am supposed to read this. I am supposed,
Sorry.
is it the
The
13th?
13th.
Not the 131st.
It's on your letter.
2026 from 9 AM to 3 PM. Do I have a motion?
Wait a minute.
No, it's,
Oh, it's the 11th. It's the 11th.
On July 11th, 2026 from 9. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Request from the Little Compton Historical Preservation Advisory Committee, HPAC, to install 3 design plaques, the library, Second Methodist Church, and Wilbur McMahon School. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
A second. And we've seen the plaques.
All right. There's
We've seen them. They're all the, we still have,
one.
is it a new, it is a different one? Oh, nice.
Well,
In your, I think they're in your packet.
same style.
Packet.
Yeah, and they're the same ones that have been erected already. We should have one different one. They're gonna be. Do I see a hand up for this?
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Andrew?
Did I second?
Yes,
I think so.
now that you say it, yes.
I just had a technical question, and I should know the answer, but I'm seeing this for the first time. They're coming to you for Google installations, and all these buildings aren't necessarily
Town buildings, are you gonna say that?
on buildings,
Is
right?
there one that's not a town building there?
Well,
Don't have control over the school.
Does it say the school?
buildings, the school.
Haven't read any of this tonight, I'm sorry. So the school we can't, we don't have jurisdiction on the school, that's for sure.
And I believe that one of the Rhode trustees, it's not a town building.
Well, abundance of caution on this.
I don't know.
Did I make a motion on that?
Andrew and,
And you guys, so you're gonna retract?
Send my
You're gonna rescind
Yeah,
that
I'll
one?
rescind my second.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
We request from the Little Compton Historical Preservation Committee, HPAC, to install design plaques. The Second Methodist Church, I don't think we own that either, do we? We own that one?
It's the Odd Fellows.
Yes, it's got a lot of names.
Technical question.
Thank you, thank you.
Needs to get permission for Blackside.
I'm happy to vote for permission to put it on the Odd Fellows, the Second Methodist Church.
I'll make a motion that we approve the installation of the plaque on the Second Methodist Church and endorse them putting the plaques on the other 2.
I don't think they need endorsements. I'll let you speak, but go ahead.
It's a question of whether these entities are going to allow this.
Yeah.
If they're all for this, and presumably they are, they went to the historic
Yeah.
commission to get this, then that would be okay. So I think Andrew's motion's in order.
Okay, so the motion is to make a motion to let them do the Second Methodist Church. And you've made that motion. I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sure.
apologize for the confusion, the committee members were not aware of those two buildings in both towns. So my understanding is I have to go to those two other entities. Okay, thank you. Meanwhile, I really do thank the committee to support this mission. And now that the town-owned buildings have been approved and they will get the plaques, now it's open to the entire community, private homes, as well as non. Other buildings that are owned by other organizations, not necessarily residential, which will include the churches, etc. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, I'm having some memories from being at the school for a long time. The town owns that building, but the school has care and custody of it. So you'll have to go there to put that on their building.
But, okay, so that's a little different than what you said. Well, no, well, the town owns it.
Town owns it.
Okay. We intend to go to the school to ask permission.
They have care and custody of it.
But not the library.
The library, and what getting answered, the library is, I believe is, there are two boards of library trustees, one is the Brownell trustees. It's a private, yeah. I own many games in the library, so it's separate project, one, the subject, the library board. Of trustees that
We'll reiterate it.
to pay the salaries, it could be more complicated. I don't believe the town owns the library.
Okay.
I believe that
Your microphone there, Mr. Motion.
that building and the school building are insured by the interlocal trust. It leads us to presume that since that's the insurance coverage, that must be ownership. But I believe it's accurate to say the library is not owned by the town. I also agree with you. That's the case. So it would be in our interest to simply say, we have council approval to place this. Are there any objections? If you find that there is such a thing, you could come back to us and say, we have that problem, but I don't think you're going to find it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business 3, request from Brandon Pinio, remark on Taylor Lane project, board of license Compton. That's just should have been down here. Brandon, would you like to step up?
Sure, like. Thank you very much for taking time to meet this evening. As many of you know, I work with historical items on a daily basis, and I'd like to study history. And one of the things that is exceedingly valuable to people who work with history and items that are historic is firsthand sources. Firsthand sources are generally documents that one can find of an individual who may have experienced something in the past firsthand and wrote about it. And they're very valuable in historic research. Now, the more history, we are fortunate sometimes to have a firsthand source that's living, can speak firsthand source. Those firsthand sources are particularly valuable when you are undergoing certain projects. Now, several weeks back, there was a meeting here in this room, standing room only, and there were individuals here in regard to the Taylor's Lane project who were firsthand sources. I was one of those people. And I was here from the point of view of the municipal. Now, I spoke at night about this project and how it may affect the ability for the DPW workers to do their job if this place were altered. And now that we've had storms, one in particular large one, unfortunately, some of my concerns are coming to fruition. And we've got several issues, and I'd like to bring them to the attention of the council. Some of the issues that have come forth is that the substrate of the lot is not enough to support the vehicles, the snowplows. We simply can't turn around in there. Our trucks cannot go into that lot, the substrate that is down. So consequently, we can't use the lot to plow snow. We cannot use the lot in order to turn the trucks around. And with the first storm, that happened in the last succession of two. One of our trucks went into that lot in an attempt to turn around. And unfortunately, the truck just sank. And although it didn't get stuck, it got out under its own power. It made some pretty severe damage to the lot. And I felt pretty bad about that. And our snowplows, I want to stress here, are a standard F-450 commercial chassis, which is ubiquitous for municipal work. They weigh 9,000 pounds with a snowplow on them. Now, 9,000 pounds is an important number here. We're going to get back to that in a couple of minutes if you don't mind. But right now, with the configuration of that parking lot and the inability to use it as a snowplow driver and a DPW worker, we don't have a lot of space to put the snow that we're pushing down the full length of Taylor's Lane, and we get to the dead end where one has to then deposit that snow and then find some way to turn that truck around. There's a very short distance between the entry to that lot where the alterations have occurred and Taylor's Lane South, which really is the only place that we can turn around now that the gullies have been dug out on both sides. So it's very difficult. Furthermore, DPW workers are endangered with some of the solutions that were offered. My understanding that after the first storm and the damage that occurred in that lot, that the designer of this project, Kim Jacobs, took a trip down there and saw the damage and made a phone call into the department head of the DPW and informed them that the town's DPW workers were going to be responsible for the repair of that lot. So not only did this lot that was made with grant money get put upon the town, but now our DPW workers that are stretched quite thin now have to also be responsible for any and all repairs that happen in this lot. So it's continued to be used for the fall. So it's a real problem. And we spoke about this in depth. And I thought as a firsthand source, and also with the unbelievable amount of opposition that was in this room that night, that some of the concerns would have been heeded. It looks like they weren't. One thing that I noticed that night is there were quite a few elders who stood up. One was Barbara Pastor. She got up, she said she likes to get her meal at the community center sometimes and drive down to Taylor's Lane and eat her meal in the car overlooking the ocean. There were a couple of other individuals who got up who were older as well, who said that they wanted to use that area of sport fishing and surf casting because of the easy entry and egress. Well, that makes perfect sense. So the trend there was I was seeing that a number of elderly people in town are using this area. Now, one of my concerns is this, if a 9,000 pound snowplow is just sinking in this lot with the plow up, not causing any damage, just driving in them, you need to understand that there is a potential, in my opinion, for the town to be facing a serious situation that may involve litigation. And I want to stress to you that the 450 chassis, this commercial chassis used across the board, is also used under the town ambulance. But the difference is when you put a tier 2 trauma center on the back of that chassis, it doesn't weigh 9,000 pounds anymore, it weighs closer to 14,000 pounds. So if 9,000 pounds is an issue, you can imagine what 14,000 pounds is going to be. Now, with the number of elders using this lot, I think it's fair to say that it's not if we're going to eventually have a situation where the ambulance is called in that area, but when. But one of my questions is, who's culpable here? 3 months ago, that lot was perfectly usable, you're right, for all individuals and all business involving Little Compton, whether it's recreation or from the point of view of DPW. Now, that lot has been altered with grant money that was brought in and a project and design that was accepted. And now there's a serious risk that that ambulance might not be able to get out of there in time. Every individual is in that ambulance, passes away, because that ambulance sank and can't get them medical care in time. Who's culpable? Is it the grant writer? Is it going to be the designer of the lot, or is it going to be default to the individual taxpayers, ultimately, who may end up part of this lawsuit? That I don't know. I'm not aware. But The reality is that that lot was open and useful 3 months ago to all people and all purposes. So why am I here tonight? I'm here tonight partially to express my disappointment that a first-hand source wasn't heeded in addition to the other individuals that spoke that night. There was overwhelming opposition to this project. And it was marketed to us that if we didn't take the money, that we'd be less apt to get more money in the future. Well, given the condition of that lot right now, and the fact that we can't use it anymore, municipal purposes, that might not have been a bad thing. Because right now, it's, in my opinion, personally, I feel it's a debacle. So I'm very disappointed that happened. But I'm also here to inform the council of the potential of litigation based on the shortfall of this design. And I'm also here to make a couple of recommendations. Now, one of the recommendations that I have is more of a wish. That wish would be that when something like this comes forth and is brought upon the town in the form of a grant, we can put out there under titles like stormwater mitigation, so it's very clandestine. Ultimately, I would like to see that the people who wrote the grant and the people who designed the lot, they have their names on these projects. But I know that's not going to happen. But my other recommendation is 100% within the council's power, in my opinion. What I really would like to see in the future is the council to establish a committee for a review for town improvement projects. So when something like this comes up in the form of a grant and someone proposes a design, that it goes to that board or that committee for review to make sure that it's vetted and vetted in several ways. Is it prudent for the town? Is this a wise use to accept this money? Will it impede the ongoings of town business, municipal recreation? Very important stuff. I think that would be very wise. I'd love to see it to be an elected thing, maybe with terms 5 or 7 people. But I think it could be very useful for this town. And I will ask that you consider that in the future. And this evening, I'll conclude with not the question of what is the town going to do about this lot? Because this project isn't done yet. I don't know if it's been signed off on, but this project isn't done yet. They have to do plantings and whatnot. I want to know what the designer of this is going to do to remediate the problems that we discussed beforehand and that now have come to fruition. We need to have a solution because right now that lot is closed off to certain individuals at certain times of year, and it wasn't only 3 months ago. And now DPW workers are endangered in a way. There were 2 solutions put forth by the designer of this lot in the conversation with the DPW director. One of the solutions was to just pile that snow up at the entrance to that lot. Well, that's what we had to do ultimately for a while, but that lot is also advertised as public space. It's open for all the time. By placing that snow in front of that lot, I don't know if there are any stipulations with that grant, but it is not open space and it is not publicly accessible when it's blocked by snow for a certain amount of time. With the amount of snow we have now piled up as high as a stop sign, it's going to be quite some time before that's open again. Now, the other option that was posed was that DPW workers were to drive down Taylor's Lane from West Main Road, with the plow up. And then they were to back in and turn around somewhere, wherever they could find, drop the plow and push the snow out towards West Main Road. Well, if you have a ½ inch of snow on the ground, I suppose that's possible. But when you have 3 inches an hour coming down, like this last storm, there were many bands of 3 inches an hour coming down. You're asking a DPW worker to risk their vehicle, the well-being of the vehicle, and their own safety to do that. And it simply isn't acceptable. So I guess I'm looking for solutions here. So ultimately, I'd love to know, and the answer doesn't have to come tonight, but I'd love to know what the designer for this project is going to do to remediate the situation so the DPW can either use that lot or has some viable option to be able to function in a safe manner as they could only 3 months ago. Thank you.
So just to be clear. Me, before the project, in the past, there was no issue with a large snowstorm like this. Obviously, I'm not an expert of the logistics of snow removal.
Not at all, sir, no.
I'm not. So before this project was done, if we had that same storm, we wouldn't have had a problem.
That's correct, sir, yes.
Since this project was completed, it's made that lot worse.
It's made that lot inaccessible and unusable from the perspective of the DPW worker of depositing snow or even being able to be in a place to turn a truck around so they can make the next pass. So yes, it's unusable and retrograded
In a snow event,
in any snow event.
in a snow event, that's what we're talking about. And you think that the base is been compromised since this project, where 5 years ago, the base was fine.
Fine, just a few months back, it was hard pan gravel, and what has been implemented now is some kind of a loose bluestone that was intended to be a filtering agent for apparently vast amounts of motor oil coming off of Taylor's Lane, which I can't imagine how that was quantified, but yes, this substrate is not strong enough to support the trucks.
So before the project, the substrate was strong enough to support a snow event like we had. But since we did the project, it no longer can support a snow event like we had.
Well, I'm not sure about a snow event, but it can no longer support DPW using that or any emergency vehicle that's 9,000 pounds or more.
I appreciate that. I would do say that the townspeople that were here were against ADA compliancy down there for our older folks. They had ADA compliant walkways, and that was taken off the plan. So I know that you're concerned about older people being down there. So, you know, but during that meeting, people weren't concerned about getting older people down there easier. But I do take your concerns about
I'll give them.
an ambulance out of there. Right.
In case there's a medical issue, that's the concern I am.
Yeah, I didn't know Kim Jacobs had gone down there. I did not know that. That's news to me today. Did you know that?
I was at a meeting at the safety complex, and she was there, and I overheard her talking with Ted about the fact that there had been some damage to the surface from the plows. And that's all I heard. I did not hear her give any advice on how to remove snow down there, but just that she had noticed that.
So maybe we'll charge the town administrator and myself to talk with Kim and let's get the story, what's going on down there and report back.
That'd be great. I'd like to see that.
Anya, can I ask a question? Did Ted report any of this to you directly?
No.
Okay.
But the other thing that wasn't made clear when this project was underway was who was ultimately going to be responsible for the maintenance of that lot. If we got to work with this stretch thin, mowing and maintenance of buildings and all of their other duties. And, you know, now your average large pickup truck with only 4 tires, let alone 6, can weigh 9,000 pounds. What's going to happen when the public is using that lot and pulling in there with your average modern? Is that going to be the DPW in the town, ultimately the taxpayer's responsibility to get out there and mend that lot every time someone pulls in with a heavy truck?
Town's accountable for their land.
Ultimately, the subject.
Yeah, if you ask my opinion,
In place is something.
that's what I'm hearing.
Something that must change.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I have communications, email communication received from Elizabeth McCurdy of Cleaning and Restoration, Rhode Island, Historic Cemetery number 24 in Adamsville, Rhode Island. Happy to accept this communication. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Consent? Anyone want to pull anything from the consent?
Motion to place the consent calendar on file.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?